Good day, I am Sheena Mazola Ones of the Bachelor of Elementary Education, and I am the first reporter of the Chapter 9, which is all about the human rights approach to women's development. The human rights approach to women's development focuses on addressing the specific needs of women, including the following. So first, we have the sexual and reproductive health care. Next, we have the protection against gender-based violence. And last, we have the prevention of discrimination in education and the workplace. So let's define first the sexual and reproductive health care. So what is sexual and reproductive health care? Is included in women's specific needs and the human rights approach to women's development because it is essential to ensuring women's autonomy, well-being, and ability to make informed choices about their bodies and reproductive health. Next, the protections against gender-based violence is included in women's specific needs in the human rights approach to women's development because gender-based violence is a pervasive violations of women's rights that undermines this safety, dignity, and autonomy. So, addressing the gender-based violence is crucial to ensuring that women can live free from fear, discrimination, and harm. Next, what is prevention of discrimination in education and the workplace? This included the women's specific needs in the human rights approach to women's development because discrimination in these areas limits women's opportunities, hinder their professional growth, and perpetuates gender inequality. So ensuring equal access to education and employment opportunities free from discrimination is essential for empowering women, promoting their economic independence, and challenging societal norms that perpetuate gender stereotypes. So are you agree with that? Alright. The respect for the promotions of these rights are necessary because they help to expand women's access to resources in their roles in communities. For instance, the human rights approach raises awareness about women's challenge and needs, serving as the key tool for advancing gender equality. And now let's proceed to the documents advocating for gender equality and human development, including the following. So first, we have the Universal Documentation of Human Rights, or the UDHR of 1948. Okay, so the Universal Declaration of Human Rights focuses on the universal rights and the freedom that every person is entitled to regardless their sex, their gender, race, and/or their nationality. Next is we have the Conventions on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women of 1979. This defines discrimination against women and provides a framework for national actions to eliminate gender-based discrimination in all areas of life. So it highlights the importance of ensuring equal rights and opportunities for women in political, economic, social, and cultural sphere. So next we have the Beijing Platform for Actions, or the BPFA of 1994. It addresses the critical areas of concern affecting women's rights, including education, health, violence against women, economic empowerment, and women's participation in decision making. So promoting gender equality and advancing women's rights globally is the aims of this program, or aims of the Beijing Platform for Action. Next is we have the Millennium Development goals or the MDGs of 2015. These goals aim to address the key global challenges such as puberty, hunger, education, gender equality, and environment sustainability by the target of year 2015. Focus on various areas including reducing poverty and hunger, achieving universal primary education, promoting gender equality, or combating the HIV or the AIDS. So we all know that, I know that all of us are already familiar with the HIV and AIDS. Ensuring environmental partnership and developing global partnership for the development. So this program or the Millennium Development Goals aims to improve the well-being of the people in developing countries. Next is we have the Sustainable Development Goals or the SDGs of 2015. So the Sustainable Development Goals are a set of 17 goals adopted in 2015 as part of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. Building upon the progress made under the MDGs or the Millennium Development Goals, the SDGs or the Sustainable Development Goals cover a broader range of sustainable development issues including the poverty, education, gender equality, climate change, and peace, and aim to achieve sustainable development for all countries by 2030. And another is we have also the Philippine Commissions on Women or the PCW. Is a Philippines Commissions on, or also known as the Philippine Commission on Women, is a government agency in the Philippines dedicated to promoting and protecting the rights of women in the country or in the Philippines. It formulates and implements gender responsiveness policies, advocates for women's rights, provides a capacity building programs, and monitors the implementation of gender-related policies and programs in the Philippines. And now, let's proceed to the timeline of notable policies and laws for women. So, the United Nations Decade of Women, year 1975 to 1985, this period gave attention to women's issues in a global perspective. While the initial focus on this decade was on domestic violence, other various forms of violence against women here later added such as domestic violence against women trafficking and sexual exploitation. Okay. So in year 1979, or the Conventions on Eliminations of All Forms of Discriminations Against Women was adopted. It is a crucial international human rights treaty adopted by the United Nations in 1979. So this, the Conventions on the Eliminations of All Forms of Discriminations aims to eliminate discriminations against women, full development, and advancement. In year 1985, the General Assembly Resolutions on Domestic Violence was adopted. This, the General Assembly Resolutions on the Domestic Violence is a focus on addressing and combating domestic violence, particularly against women and girls. In 1989, the Convention on the Rights of the Child, or the CRC, was adopted. Or the CRC, a CRC is concerned with the protections of the dignity of children. It contains specific notes against abuse and violence, including domestic abuse and child trafficking. Okay, so without these rights entitlements on the individual, human right is almost impossible. Therefore, in the rights-based approach, human rights must be protected protected. All humans have the right to life, by right to nationality, in the right to education, the right to livelihood, and more. These rights, by an overwhelming majority of the members of the United Nations, are fundamental to be realizations of a genuine of a women existence. They are universals and necessary to all human beings. However, women have particular rights due to their particularities or their specifications. And this report will be continued to Ms. Rian Moan.
Once again, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rian Manya, and I will be your second reporter. And today, I will continue the report of Ms. Sheena Onas. Okay, timeline to notable policies and laws for women. So, in the year 1995, various policies and laws were enacted globally that has significantly impacted women's rights and gender equality. So here are some of the notable policies and laws along with their aims and importance. So number one is Violence Against Women Act, or VAWA of USA. It aims to address and reduce domestic violence, sexual assault, and stalking. So it provided federal resources for prosecution and investigation of violent crimes against women. Second, we have Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action of United Nations. It is to advance women's rights globally and achieve gender equality. It fostered global commitment to women's rights and serves as a comprehensive blueprint for women's empowerment. Next, we have National Policy for the Empowerment of Women. It is draft from India. So, to promote the advancement, develop, and empowerment of women, it outlined measures to eliminate discrimination and violence against women. Next, we have the Promotion of Equality and Prevention of Unfair Discrimination Act of South Africa. It is to promote equality and prevent discrimination, including gender-based discrimination. It also encouraged equal treatment and opportunities for women. So, in the year 1999, here are some of the key policies and laws along with their aims and also in its importance. First, we have optional protocol for the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, or CEDAW, of the United Nations. It is to provide a mechanism for individuals and groups to submit complaints about violations of rights protected under CEDAW. It also increased accountability of states to uphold women's rights. Second, we have Equal Treatment Directive. It is revised from European nation. It is to combat discrimination based on sex in the workplace and promote equal treatment. It also mandated equal pay for equal work and equal treatment and employment. Next, we have Gender Equality Act of Sweden. It to promote gender equality and prevent discrimination based on gender. It also strengthened measures against gender-based violence. Next, we have Family Violence Law of China. It is to address and prevent domestic violence and to raise public awareness and encourage reporting of domestic violence cases. So, in the year 2008, this campaign aims to adopt and enforce national laws that address and punish all forms of violence against women and girls. Second, it adopts and implements multi-sectoral national actions plan. Third, it is to strengthen data collection on the prevalence of violence against women and girls. Fourth, it is to increase public awareness and social mobilization. Fifth, address sexual violence and conflict by 2050. So, in the year 2013, here are some of the key policies and laws from this year. We have Violence Against Women Reauthorization Act of USA. It aims to reauthorize and expand the Original Violence Against Women Act or VAWA. It enhanced support services for victims, including legal assistance and housing protection. Second, Women, Peace and Security Act of USA. It is to promote the meaningful participation of women in peace and security processes. It also reinforced commitments to gender equality and international peace and security efforts. Now it is created by the United Nations Committee on the Elimination of Discrimination Against Women. It seeks to identify the different places where women may experience discrimination and suggest policy strategy to overcome this problem. So the CEDAW defines discrimination as any distinction, exclusion, or restriction made on the basis of sex, which has the effect or purpose of impairing or nullifying the recognition, enjoyment, or exercise by women, irrespective of their marital status, on the basis of equality of men and women of human rights and fundamental freedoms in the political, economic, social, cultural, civil, or any other field. So in any state or country that adopts the CEDAW must commit itself to ending discrimination against women. Specifically, a state must work to incorporate the principle of equality of men and women in their legal system, abolish all discriminatory laws, and adopt appropriate ones prohibiting discrimination against women. It is to establish tribunals and other public institutions to ensure the effective protection of women against discrimination. And lastly, to ensure the elimination of all acts of discrimination against women by persons, organizations, or enterprises. So the Magna Carta of Women, or MCW, establishes the Philippines government's pledge of commitment to the CEDAW. First, we have Beijing Platform for Action. So, it is a landmark international agreement adopted at the 4th World Conference on Women, held in Beijing in September 1995. It remains one of the most comprehensive policy frameworks for advancing gender equality and women's rights globally. Next, we have feminization of poverty. It refers to the phenomenon where women represent a disproportionate share of the world's poor. This concept highlights how poverty impacts women more severely than men, largely due to systematic inequalities. And lastly, we have gender mainstreaming. It is a strategy aimed at achieving gender equality by integrating gender perspectives and considerations into all policies, programs, and practices. This approach seeks to ensure that both women and men benefit equally and that gender inequalities are not perpetuated. And that's all. Thank you.
So good afternoon, everyone. By the way, I am Grace May Hinampas, who will report the continuation of Ms. Rian's report. Okay, so Millennial Development Goals, or the MDGs. The MDGs are a collection of 8 goals that focus on major issues of the underprivileged people around the globe. MDGs established by the UN in 2000 to address the global issues such as poverty, hunger, disease, and gender equality by 2015. So, the MDGs were created to tackle a range of social, economic, and health-related challenges that disproportionately affect developing nations. They encompass efforts to reduce extreme poverty and hunger, improve health and education, to promote gender equality and ensure environmental sustainability. By setting specific targets and deadlines, the MDGs provide a framework for global collaboration and accountability. Each goal came with a set of
measurable targets and indicators to track progress and ensure that efforts were aligned with the broader vision of global development. Countries that signed the UN Millennium Declaration in 2000 pledged to integrate these goals into their national policies and development strategies. So, these are the three goals that directly address women's needs and empowerment. So the first is the goal 2, which is the universal primary education. So the goal 2, it aims to ensure that all children, regardless of gender, can complete a full course of primary schooling. So the example of this is programs to build schools in rural areas, providing scholarships for girls and campaigns to promote the importance of educating girls. Then the second is the goal 3, which is to promote gender equality and empowerment. It aims to eliminate gender disparity in primary and secondary education, preferably by 2005 and at all levels by 2015. Example, initiatives to increase the enrollment of girls in schools, support for women in higher education, and policies promoting women's employment and opportunities. Then the last goal, which is the goal 5, improve maternal health. It aims to reduce the maternal mortality ratio by these quarters and achieve universal access to reproductive health. Example of this is improving access to prenatal and postnatal care, training more midwives, and increasing access to family planning services. So that is the three goals directly addressed to women's needs and empowerment. So let's proceed to the SDGs, or the Sustainable Development Goals. The new SDGs aims to address the root causes of poverty and inequality in the world today. The SDGs are built from the Millennium Development Goals, or the MDGs, and aim at continuing the latter's goals and completing the targets by 2030. So SDG have a 5 goal, which is to consider the gender equality and empowerment or targets. So the first is end discrimination and violence against women and girls. Example of this is legal reforms to criminalize domestic violence, campaigns to raise awareness about gender-based violence, and support services for survivors of abuse. Second, eliminate harmful practices such as child marriage and female genital mutilation. Example of this is the community education programs to change social norms, legislation banning these practices, and support for girls at risk. And the third is recognize and value unpaid care and domestic. Example of this is the policies providing parental leave, promoting flexible working hours, and recognizing unpaid care work in national statistics. And the fourth, ensure equal participation of women in leadership roles. Example, the quotas for women in political positions, leadership training programs for women, and initiatives to support women entrepreneurs. And the last is to implement and strengthen policies for gender equality. The example of this is the National Gender Equality Strategies, gender responsive budgeting, and monitoring and evaluation frameworks to track the progress. Now let's proceed to the laws and policies for women in the Philippines. Filipino women have been active participants in almost every aspect of positive social changes in the Philippines. The current laws protecting Filipino women's rights are a testament to our foremothers' determination to fight for gender equality. The formalization of women's rights started during the post-martial law era, when the 1987 Constitution declared the equality of women and men before the law. So, first is the women. Women play a vital role in nation building. Their inclusion in societal structures and processes are key toward equality and development. Then, the second is Republic Act number 7192, which is the Women and Development and Nation Building. It mandates women's participation in nation building and includes their rights. Example of this is encouraging women to take part in development projects, access to credit and resources, and participation in policy-making processes. Then the next is the National Commission on the Role of Filipino Women, or the NCRFW, or the Philippine Commission of Women, or the PCW. It acts as a primary policy-making and coordinating body on women's concerns and gender equality in the Philippines. The example of this is the developing and implementing national plans for gender equality, coordinating with various government agencies, and advocating for women's rights. The next is the Philippine Plan for Gender Responsive Development, or PPGD, or in 1995 to 2025. Example of this is, so the PPGD is a long-term plan aiming to mainstream gender equality across all domains, including social, cultural, economic, political, and legal aspects. The example of this is initiatives to promote women's rights in all areas of life, support for women's organizations, and policies to ensure equal opportunities in employment and education. And the last is the Philippine Development Plan for Women, or the PDPW, in 1989 to 1992. It is the first development plan integrating women's interests into national policies. Example of this is the programs to improve women's health, education, and economic opportunities, and efforts to eliminate gender-based violence. These efforts illustrate the significant strides made toward gender equality both global and in the Philippines. They demonstrate a commitment to improving the lives of women and ensuring their full participation in all aspects of society. And that's all. Thank you.
Okay, hello everyone, good afternoon. So, by the way, I am Rika Misoteo, and now let's move on to the gender mainstreaming in the Philippines, recent publications and legislative initiatives. So, this is the continuation of the report of Ms. Hinampas. So, gender mainstreaming in the Philippines, recent publication and legislative initiatives. In the Philippine government has taken significant steps to advance gender equality and mainstreaming through recent publication and legislative initiative. These efforts are successors to the Philippine Development Plan for Women, or the PDPW, and the Philippine Plan for Gender Responsive Development, or the PPGD, created over 2 decades ago. So, the two recent publication is the first is Harmonized Gender and Development Guidelines, and the second is the Women Empowerment, Development and Gender Equality, or the EDGE Plan in 2013 to 2016. So first is Harmonized Gender and Development Guidelines. This guideline, published in 2010, provides a framework for gender mainstreaming in government policies. They are a response to the Magna Carta of Women advocating for gender equality and sector-specific guide and implementations. So, they aim to ensure that development initiatives do not perpetuate gender inequalities, but instead contribute to women empowerment. And the second is the Women's Empowerment, Development and Gender Equality, or the EDGE Plan 2013-2016. So the EDGE Plan outlines strategic goals and action to advance women empowerment and gender equality. And the plan serves a roadmap for government agencies, non-government organizations, and other stakeholders in promoting gender equality. So, it is emphasized the importance of economic empowerment, policy, political participation, and social protection for women. And the lack of laws protecting women from online harassment prompted by Senator Risa Montevero. So, to introduce the Tres Marias bills, these bills including amendments to existing laws aim to combat sexual harassment and violence against women. So, despite progress, challenges remain, particularly in the realm of online harassment. Existing laws often falls short protecting women from digital violence. To address these gaps, Senator Risa Hontiveros introduced the Tres Marias bills, which is focused on enhancing protecting against online harassment and abuse, criminalizing gender-based electronic violence, and providing support and resources for victims of online harassment. So the Tres Marias bills is, first is the Anti-Rape Act by Senate Bill number 1252, and then second is Anti-Sexual Harassment Bill, Senate Bill number 1250. And then the third one is the Gender-Based Electronic Violence, Senate Bill number 1251. So the Anti-Rape Act by Senate Bill number 1252, revising the definition of rape to ensure more comprehensive protection for victims and stricter penalties for perpetrators. So example of this is si Joyce is nagtrabaho siya sa opisina ni Justin. And then, usa ka gabi is party sila. Then, si Joyce is ganahan na siyang muuli. O niya, ang usa sa iyang kauban is ganahan nga pasakyon si Joyce pasakyon na si Joyce. Then, si Joyce is kanang nara siya pagsalig sa iyang kauban. Then, so, may uban si Joyce without knowing nga yan ay kauban is nakainom. So, yahan gi-harass si Joyce. Yan, kato siyang harassment is despite her clear refusal and attempts to resist, he coerces her into non-consensual to sexual activity. Joyce is left traumatized and decides to report the incident to the authorities. So, pwede siya makasuhan po Anti-Rape Act sa gibuhat sa kauban ni Joyce. And then, the second is the Anti-Sexual Harassment Bill, or the Senate Bill number 1250, expanding the scope of the law to cover a broader range of environments, including online spaces, and ensuring more robust mechanism for reporting and addressing harassment. So, example of this is si Lorini is the online selling, and she is active in social kay, of course, part man sa iya nga job. During sa iyang pag-online selling, kay naa siya sige og comment, ug napoy sige og kanang message na niya. Then, this is one of her follower na nagka-enters na kaayo ni Lorini. So, si Lorini is kanang uncomfortable and unsafe online na siya. Despite of blocking him, the harassment continued through fake accounts and resistance attempts to contact her. So, pwede siya makasuhan og Anti-Sexual Harassment Bill. Then the last one is the Gender-Based Electronic Violence, Senate Bill number 1251, introducing the new measures to combat online gender-based violence, including cyber-talking, non-consensual sharing of intimate images, and other forms of digital abuse. So, example of this is, si Carmela is na siya'y boyfriend. And presently, Carmela is kanang ihang gibulagan ang iyang uyab. And then ang iyang uyab is ibog lang kay siya ni Carmela. Then ang nag-start ang uyab og kanang message, video call niya ni Carmela is dili na siya ganahan sa iyang uyab. So iyang gi-block iyang uyab, then iyang gi-unfriend. But iyang uyab is nagama siya og fake account. Ang sa fake account is nag-post iyang uyab nga sa picture ni Carmela, sa picture atong past pa nila. Muto siya kanang na uncomfortable na si Carmela nga kay nabuya na sa social media. So maka-cause po siya kanang traumatized sa usa ka tawo. Pwede niyang makasuhan ang katumagay og gender-based electronic violence kay nag-post naman siya og mga images. So that would be all. Thank you.